Hello, this is TuneIn from Ghostlands EU, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough for the Four Horsemen in the military quarter, or Death Knight Wing of Naxxramas. Basically, when you enter the room, you'll see four bosses in front of you. One is Thane Corthaz, one's Lady Blowmew, one's Sir Zeliek, and one is Baron Rivendare. This fight is quite hard to get grasp of when you're first doing it, so you might get confused. This is what I'm trying to help with, but hopefully you'll get them down first try. Now, the whole fight depends on marks. Each boss has a separate mark, so if you're near Lady Blowmew, you'll get Mark of Blowmew, and each time I think there's about 20 or 30 seconds between each mark being applied. When it's applied, you take a bit of damage. You can take up to about 3 marks, and you'll be okay. The damage is doable. But when 4, 5, 6 marks, you start taking about 5,000 damage each time a mark is applied. So basically, the two end bosses, Lady Blowmew and Sir Zeliek, will run out to the far left and right corners. I've just turned the camera so it's quite hard to see. There, the far left and right corners, and they don't move. They stay stationary, casting ranged spells. Now the two middle ones will come to the closest left and right corners. You saw some of my raid group I'm running there now. This is the close left. Thane Corthaz will run here at first. Now what we do is we will DPS and obviously get a tank to do Thane Corthaz, and we get him down until we get 3 marks. There's a tank and healer on the other side with Baron Rivendare, and when we both get to 3 marks, we will swap. When the two tanks get to the middle, the tank tanking Thane Corthaz will taunt Baron Rivendare, and the same for the other. As you will see now, we run over. And the same for the other side, apart from there's no taunting involved. They will attack the closest person to them. So when you run over, the bosses stay where they are. So when you get 3 marks, you just swap corners. As you just saw, I got Mark of Corthaz. That will stack to 3 times. Then the DPS stays where they are. Only the tanks will move the bosses. Once you get the 2 melee bosses down, which if you have the good DPS it shouldn't take long because they only have about 800,000 health each, basically you will all the DPS and the 2 remaining tanks will run over to one of the casting bosses, fire on them, get them as much down as they can, and then when they get 3 marks we will all move to the other side but the person who was tanking the boss that wasn't getting DPS'd will swap over and take over getting the marks on the other boss. The one thing I haven't explained is you have to keep someone attacking one of each bosses. This is because if one of the bosses gets left alone, they will start casting unyielding pain, and it will wipe you instantly. Well, not instantly, because it does happen once. I will point out when it does happen later, because there was a bit of a mix-up with the 2 spell bosses. But as you can take about 1 or 2 unyielding pains, and then after that, everyone just starts dying way too quickly, especially if there's 2 bosses casting it. Luckily, there was only 1 with us, because we'd all moved to one side, and it was a bit of a mix-up. But I will point that out later. But as you can see, Thane Corthaz is about to go down. Once he's down, we will all run over. Well, he's bringing him over now. Oh no, he's not. So we will all run over to that side, apart from the tank that was just tanking him, who is now just by my omen. And he will stay over there waiting, because now we all get Mark of Rivendare's, and when they get to 3, the tank tanking him at the minute will take him over to the other corner where the other tank will aggro, but we will all have to sit here and wait for our Mark of Rivendare's to go. That takes about 20-25 seconds, so it's not long. But sometimes I think that what we are doing now, we'll just DPS. Look, but Deadly Boss Mods comes up with a warning where you've gone over 3 marks, and you'll see the damage I start taking, but we're just going to DPS him down very quickly. But if you don't have the DPS to get him down quickly, then obviously just get the other tank to aggro him to the other corner, while we will sit here and wait for our marks to go. As you can see, the 2 melee bosses are down. We're about to go over to the casting bosses. And we will start attacking Sir Zeliek first. As you can see now, yep, because there's been no DPS, he's still on 97%, but it shouldn't take too long to get him down. There you go, there's the first mark of Zeliek. When that gets to 3, everyone will run over to the left-hand side, apart from the person who was tanking Lady Blowme on the other side will run over and take over Sir Zeliek. While there's nothing going on, I'll just quickly say, if you are a mage and you've never really known how to play Arcane, just watch the rotations I do. I do 3 Arcane Blasts and then Arcane Barrage, unless Missile Barrage is proc, then I do Arcane Missiles. Right, apart from that, we've now got 3 marks. I don't know why I've stayed and started DPSing him still, I don't think I noticed. But I will get hit because I'm doing it. There you go. I got hit for about 3,500 on the 4th mark. But we're all moving over to Lady Blowme and we will DPS her down. With Lady Blowme, you just have to watch out for her black marks on the floor because they do a lot of damage. But when we get 3 marks of Blowme, we will go back to Zeliek and get him down. I think this is the rotation where we all run to the wrong side, so keep your eye out and watch how much damage I take and how much the raid takes. You'll see now, I think, here comes a player or a couple of players from where Blowme was. So she's now being left alone, and you'll see in a minute. Yeah, there's the tank. You'll see in a minute. Look, the 2 tanks get confused. I run after. Unyielding Pain on everyone does about 5,500 damage, which when cast every second will wipe your raid. So if that ever happens, you have to be very quick to pick up and run to the boss that's been left alone, otherwise you will wipe. I think the mage that is dead on the floor just back there, I think I watched this video back and her problem was she was stood right in the middle, so she was taking marks from both of them. Because that is possible, you can be just far enough away from both of them to still get marks. So you have to be quite far to either boss, because if you take both marks, there's no way of getting away from it unless you run completely to the front door. So basically she was taking, when she got to 5 marks of each, she was taking about 10,000, 15,000 damage, which is just unhealable after a while. So yeah, try and get quite close to one side of each boss, and now the boss is now on 15%. When you get them down to about this, it's quite easy just to attack through it. And that's it really. I hope this has been of help. This was Tunim from Ghostlands EU, and good luck with your fight against the Four Horsemen.